They may never lose another game again. In the words of Jeff Merritt. The Toronto Maple Leafs with a massive win tonight against the New Jersey Devils on home ice. No Austin Matthews, no William Nylander, no Chris Tanev, no Dakota Joshua. Jacob Quillen is up. Guys filling in, guys stepping up. An incredible team game. The Toronto Maple Leafs come out tonight with a performance against the New Jersey Devils that may have been one of their best efforts of the entire season. Just in terms of like a overall team game and everyone buying in and everyone committing and Joseph Woll and stepping up and having the game that he did, this may have been the best performance the Toronto Maple Leafs have had as a team this season. We'll break it all down here tonight on the postgame show. We'll get into our best bet, we'll get into play of the game, grade of the game, everything from tonight's game in Toronto against the New Jersey Devils. And yes, I am doing the show, and I am doing the show in Toronto from my apartment. I did not make it to Minnesota. We're going to have producer Vic join us, by the way. But we're got to figure out a guest link for him here quickly because I think something's happened. 3 straight days. Let's just do like a personal thing here off the top. And I know nobody comes here to hear about flight problems and travel when I get to work the job I do, and I was supposed to be going to watch the thing that I was going to be watching in Minnesota, watching the World Juniors. But 3 straight days of flight cancellations. Supposed to fly on Sunday. Was going to get there, watch the Detroit game, do the post-game show at the Airbnb. Flight gets canceled. Move to Monday. Monday, didn't even get to the airport. Flight gets canceled. Moves to today. Have a booking to go to Chicago, then Minnesota. Flight gets delayed 3 times, and then the flight gets canceled. So I will not be going to Minnesota this year. I will be doing all the shows from Toronto, and I will be watching the New Year's Eve game alone on my couch. Maybe the next guest who's coming up in a couple of minutes will want to watch with me if he's not dying by tomorrow evening. But yep, I will be watching alone on my couch. And then I will be watching on January 1st the Leafs game alone on my couch. And that is the end of my Minnesota journey. I got as far as having a plane ticket. I got as far as actually sitting at the gate twice. I sat at the gate. But nobody is here for that. I just wanted to point it out because there's a few people saying, will Alberga be taking calls tonight? Will Vic be taking calls tonight? And then saying, what the hell, Zach's here? Yes, Zach is here. Alberga will not be hosting the show. And yes, Zach will be taking calls. Zach will be taking calls, Super Mario. I see you in the chat. I will be taking calls. Let's go to our first guest of the night here. I'm sure he's got a lot to say about this game. Just the effort that we saw, performances from depth guys, the pieces that were missing. We'll break it all down with the man, the myth, the legend, a guy who's probably actually going to be producing and hosting the show tonight if I wasn't here. Producer Vic. What's up, Vic? You are still incarcerated, but glad to have you here on the post game.
Still in my little jail cell here. But yeah, what a game and what a night for you, Zach. I was waiting by my phone, waiting for the call out of the bullpen here. World Series Game 7. It's a big night here. But one of the most complete efforts we've seen all season. And honestly, so happy to be on here to talk about it with you.
Yeah, so let's start, obviously, from the very beginning. And by beginning, I don't mean opening puck drop. I mean the fact that Austin Matthews, day-to-day, doesn't play tonight. They said, Elliot Friedman earlier today, said that Austin Matthews basically finished Sunday night's game out of pure adrenaline. Dakota Joshua is still in Detroit. He's dealing with a kidney issue, bleeding. There's internal bleeding. It sounds like that's going on. And quote, I think the quote from David Alter, was, "It doesn't sound good," which is a scary thought when you hear kidneys and internal bleeding and everything. But he remains in Detroit under supervision, not back in Toronto, not playing. Chris Tanev doesn't play in this game tonight. He's, let's just call it injured, because I don't know if it's day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, but they said could be long-term. With the Maple Leafs at this point, that could mean he's going to announce his retirement by Friday. It also could mean he plays on Thursday. So I don't fucking know, Vic. But you're looking at Nylander, Matthews, Tanev, Joshua all out in this game here tonight. And that means you're going to have guys like Cowan, McMahon, Robertson, Woll, Tavares. You name the player, they're going to have to step up in those guys' absences, whether it's on power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. And by all accounts here tonight, from start to finish, everybody elevated their play in the absence of the big boys.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of it in the chat, like, oh, make sure 34 and 88 stay out of the lineup. We don't need those guys. I mean, it was so funny to see Zach. It was funny to see Zach on Twitter. I saw a couple New Jersey Devils reporters writing something like, I saw a quote tweet that said, the Toronto Maple Leafs are without $40 million in cap in their out of their lineup tonight. And it was quote tweeted by Ryan Novozinski, and it said, and the Devils are losing 2-0. We talked about it briefly, you and I, how leafy a loss that is for the New Jersey Devils with Sheldon Keefe behind their bench. How many times have we seen that from our end, from our perspective, when a team is ready, ripe for the picking, and the Toronto Maple Leafs come out flat? Their best players don't show up early on. They get a couple big saves on the other end. They get goalied a little bit from whoever the opponent is. We make some bum look like a Vezina Trophy, Hart Trophy winner, and you come out without any points. And we sit here on After Dark and we bitch and moan and like, why don't these guys ever show up? That was super, super leafy from the New Jersey Devils tonight. Although Jack Hughes did play pretty well.
Yeah, Hughes did play pretty well. He had a good game. It was leafy from the New Jersey Devils. Maybe it was just Keefy from the Devils. I mean, that's what it needs to be changed to. It's Sheldon Keefe. If that follows him everywhere he goes, it's Keefy at this point. But one of the things that I saw was Joseph Woll, his elevated play. You talked about it there a little bit with the Leafs type loss from the New Jersey Devils, and specifically with Sheldon Keefe behind the bench. Joseph Woll had an excellent game here tonight. They win 4-0, obviously. He gets the shutout, but it was bigger than that. It was big saves in the right moments and at the right times. It wasn't necessarily like the Leafs got hemmed in this one. Like, I don't feel like walking away, this was, oh shit, the Devils pumped you, and Joseph Woll is the reason that you won. Joseph Woll was a significant piece in it, but what'd you make of Woll's play here tonight, and just kind of how important the goaltending's been over the last stretch, where there's been some ups and downs, but anytime you look back there, whether it's Hildeby or Woll, they've been pretty reliable, pretty trustworthy in the net for the Maple Leafs.
You know how big a fan of Joseph Woll's I am.
Yes.
You probably know it better than anybody how big a fan of Joseph Woll I am. He had a bit of a shaky start against the Senators there. What did he allow? 5. It was tough to watch. But what a bounce back. What a stud, man. He shut down every big opportunity. It started in the first period. He made a huge save on Palat in tight. It was 0-0 at the time. And he kept it scoreless. And if I feel like he got the boys going a little bit, like, okay, Woll's on his game, let's go get him one. And when you get goaltending like that, I mean, we talk a lot about, what's the ceiling for this Leafs team? Oh, even if they get in, what are they going to do? They're not going to do any damage. But when you get goaltending like they've been getting, you have a chance against anybody in this league. You saw it without their 2 best players tonight. The guy stood on his head, no rebounds, no scrambles, everything poised. Pucks hit him a lot too, because the Devils got a lot of traffic and just always in the right place, and it just hits him and he covers it up. He was so good tonight. And I think I saw somebody in the chat say that if he can stay healthy, this is before we even went live. I was just fooling around in the chat. If he can stay healthy, he's a Vezina caliber goaltender. I would only disagree with that in the sense that we haven't seen him do it consistently for long stretches. And I know health has a little bit to do with that, but also the fact that he just seems to wear down a little bit when you get him in there too much. So having Hill to be back there and keeping him fresh where you have the guy that you can rely on as a 1-2 punch is great without Stolarz there.
Yeah, Joseph Woll makes 33 saves tonight, just in comparison there. The Maple Leafs, Jacob Markstrom faces 29 shots against. I was going to say the Leafs had 29 shots on goal. That's not true. They had the empty netter as well. So 29 shots against on Jacob Markstrom. This is not one of those ones where the Maple Leafs just were pounded when it came to shots and the Devils walked away and had 38 and Woll got a shutout and they were lucky to win and there was bad goaltending on the other side. Sure, some of those ones the Devils are going to want back. Sheldon Keefe, Jacob Markstrom, they're going to look at and say, wish those ones didn't go in. But this is a pretty even game when it comes to the shots. Maybe quality of shots a little different. I'll take a look at the expected goals in a moment. But yeah, Joseph Woll steps up here tonight, has a 33 save shutout for the 4-0 win against the New Jersey Devils. But Vic, it's not just Joseph Woll who steps up. Bobby McMahon finishes this one, a goal, an assist, +1, 6 shots on goal, and he's one half of the Bobby tandem here tonight. Obviously, we'll talk about Nicky Bobby in a moment, but let's first touch on Bobby McMahon, his night tonight, 14 minutes and 16 seconds of time on ice. He plays nearly 2 minutes of power play time as well. What have you made of Bobby McMahon's December, first of all, because it's not just been this game here tonight. It's been the month of December that he's looked really good and like he's starting to find his stride, but no Matthews, no Nylander, and Bobby McMahon says, fuck it, it's all right, I got you.
I mean, kind of a little crazy. We were joking about it when he was put on the top line there. When did you ever expect Bobby McMahon to be put on the top line to get Austin Matthews going? And sure enough, he just keeps on rolling and rolling. He used his speed to create a chance right after he scored as well on the next shift, and he just kept going and going. He's impressed me a lot. That shot's back. The thing that worries me about him is we saw this a bit last year as well, and he completely tailed off at the end of the season. I think he went like 23 straight without scoring at the end of the year. So hopefully he can keep it going. Yeah, exactly. And he struggled really, really, really bad at the end of the year last year. So hopefully he can keep it going. It was great to see some secondary scoring. And I feel like he's got a little bit of confidence. He's got some mojo, and it looks like he's got a little bit of chemistry with Nicky Bobby. But they don't play together. They only play together on the power play. But when they do, they're both buzzing. His speed is really, really impressive. His shot is really, really impressive. I love it. It's great to see somebody step up that, I mean, you're not really expecting. I didn't see much from the Domi, Tavares, Nyes line at all today. I feel like that was the one line. I mean, obviously they ended up evening out, but I didn't see anything dangerous really. So it was good to see something from Bobby.
Let's get to Nick Robertson here, the other half of the Bobbies. I was trying to think like a creative way to transition into this, but I mean, just to close on the Bobby McMahon thing in his game here tonight, if he can find this consistently, the only thing that scares me about this is like, I see people in the chat bringing up Bobby McMahon's game and how awesome he looked. And I'm not diminishing that in any sense. Like, he looked really good. And people brought this up from the beginning of the show here before I had even started, how good he looked, even when it wasn't just the goals and the chances he was creating, creating opportunities for other people, winning battles, not giving up on plays. Like, he was all over it here tonight. And I can even say that about his game on Sunday night. I feel like I could say that about his game on Saturday night. Probably look back to the game on Tuesday and you could say that about his game. I even feel like maybe even in that Dallas game on the Sunday before, you could look at that one and say Bobby McMahon elevated his play in those. But the thing that worries me about Bobby is it was about this time last year he had the same heater. And it was about this time last year where we looked at him, we're like, holy fuck, if Bobby McMahon can do this for the rest of the year, you've got depth. And then it didn't continue. So I'm not trying to say that will happen again, but Vic, I mean, I just look at that and it's in the back of my head. It's that grain of salt moment where it's like, is this reality? Is this who he is? Or is this who he's going to be going forward? Or is this just who he is? A guy who can get hot and then kind of cool off because maybe he's playing above his means right now. And I don't mean that as a diss to McMahon, just to be clear. I just am kind of reminiscing about what happened last year with a very similar situation.
No, I agree 100%. And the fact is that it is a contract year for the guy. And obviously, right now, he wants to get to the negotiating table, but most likely Tree Living is pumping the brakes on that. But I feel like he could be an X factor for this team. If he plays this well and you can move him up to play with Austin on the top line and you could get Nyes in a secondary role playing. I mean, we've seen it a billion times with this Leafs team where they like to spread the wealth. Sometimes we saw it very, very rarely, but sometimes you'd see Austin on line 1, Mitch on line 2, Willie on line 3. And if you can get that depth on the left side, which we've never seemed to have, I think that would go a long way in creating some actual mismatches if we do find a way to somehow sneak into a playoff spot. And right now, I think Alberga actually did tweet this. Like, what is a guy like Bobby McMahon worth right now in a contract year? They were talking. I saw some $3.5-4 million player. Sure, I'd give that to this version of Bobby McMahon, but I'm not paying Bobby McMahon right now either.
No, that would be a tremendous mistake if they go out and decide to sign Bobby McMahon right now. I mean, I think there's enough of a body of work here from McMahon over the last little while, and for this season as well, even prior to, and probably what you'll get after this heater that he's on, to be able to justify a more palatable contract. And if he does do this for the rest of the season, you're probably in a good spot as a Leafs fan because you think about it on either end. If he does this for the rest of the year and the team does really well and he can be a guy who elevates, then maybe you don't need to go out and find as big of pieces as maybe you initially thought, and you can kind of work your way through the rest of the year without trading and adding to the team in necessarily the way that you originally thought you would have, and you can kind of allow him and his play and other guys' play to elevate that and get you there. And if he plays this way and the team doesn't work out, then it's a piece that you could trade. And it is what it is. And if he doesn't hang on to this and everybody else drops off, then the team's probably not in a good spot. And you're probably looking at trading off assets anyways. And maybe he's not as big of a piece that you could trade off, but still a piece that you could trade off. So a lot of different ways to shake this one out and look at it. But Bobby McMahon, another amazing game here tonight. Let's talk about, unless you got any final thoughts on that, Vic.
No, all good. Go for it. I think you want to go to Nicky Robertson, right?
I do. I want to talk about Nick Robertson. Snaps a slump the other day, scores on Sunday against the Red Wings to open up the scoring in that one. Obviously, we know 23 seconds later, the Red Wings end up tying it up, and they do win in overtime, which has the frustrations of that game have been expressed here more than enough. But Nick Robertson in this one walks away with 2 assists in this game, a +1, 3 shots on goal. He has 14 minutes and 22 seconds of ice time. Nicky Bobby continuing to elevate when need be. What'd you make of Nick Robertson's play tonight?
He was incredible every single time he was on the ice. They even showed a couple times where he wasn't on the ice and he was actually trying to rah and get the boys going before the period started, before the game started. He was everywhere tonight. Every shift he was on. I don't even think he was on PP1, which we might have to rejig and get him up there. I mean, that's my only knock on the PP because it's been so good, and I'm sure we're gonna get to that in a few minutes here. But he was dynamic at 5-on-4 playing with Bobby McMahon, and then at even strength, that Waugh, Cowan, Nick Robertson line created like 9 scoring chances. I feel like, I mean, this is just eye test talking, just cycling, working, moving their legs, and getting chances. Reset, grab the rebound, back to the point. Everybody moving, nobody standing in one place. Him and Cowan, I feel like, were feeding off each other, keeping their legs moving, keeping the cycles moving. That was our best line tonight. Again, eye test, but I absolutely loved what I saw from that line.
Yeah, I think the one thing for Nick Robertson is, what does your game look like if you're not just scoring goals? And I don't know that he puts up 2 assists every single night. That's obviously, best case scenario that he turns into that kind of player who's producing at such a high clip. I kind of say that like jokingly, obviously, but like if Nick Robertson is showing up and making an impact on the game offensively like he does tonight, even if it's not with points, but it's opening guys up, it's creating opportunities, it's being involved in a cycle game and getting some dangerous chances. If it's capitalizing on forechecks or pucks go in and you're getting in hard on guys and turning them back over your way, because that's something that he's adapted into his game that I don't think he was doing when he first got here, where it's a more physical side of things. He's winning more battles. He's turning shifts into extended shifts in the O-zone because of a second or a third chance opportunity. I even look at that Bobby McMahon goal that's scored. It's Nick Robertson who holds it in at the line. That thing traditionally on this Leafs team is out of the zone. It's by a guy. Maybe he turns around lazily. Maybe somebody beats him back out of the zone. You're off to a race the other way. Nick Robertson holds it in and makes a great pass. You just look at these plays that are being made. You look at the impact that he can have on the game when he does show up, when his legs are moving, when he's playing physical, that kind of stuff. It's very positive to see from that guy, because you walk away from a game like this and you go, wow, I noticed that guy every time he was out there. He can do that if he plays in the bottom 6. He just has to be as engaged as he was here tonight. And to give him some credit, or to be fair to him, I guess I should say, Berube, I think, has to manage the bench, the players, and the minutes a little bit better than he has been doing, because I think sometimes Nick Robertson can get buried in the lineup, unfairly so, and you lose a little bit of this. But, again, I agree with you 100%. I thought Nick Robertson was fucking awesome here in this one tonight, and it's kind of building off a season where I think for the most part, Nicky Bobby has been really, really, really good.
I was very, very much on team trade Nick Robertson for whatever you can in the offseason. I was on that. I didn't think he had another level. I didn't think that he had anything when he wasn't scoring. And he's proved me wrong. He's made himself a very, very valuable depth piece here. And I would honestly, again, we'll see where we are when the deadline rolls around, but I'd be very, very weary about trading a guy that's playing this well. Again, I forget how old is he now? Is he like 22 years old still? Like he's still
I think he's like 23 or 4 now, but yeah, still.
Like he's still, it's so hard for me, Zach. Like, do you trade him at his highest point here, or do you let him build on this? Because it looks like he does find a way to elevate his game when the guys like Nylander and Austin aren't out there, because he gets a little bit more ice time. He gets those few more touches. We talk about developing your young guys in for example, the minors, and you put a guy like, for example, we sent Easton Cowan down to the Marlies. You put him on the top line, he plays 23 minutes a night, and then you bring him up and he sits on your fourth line, he plays 6 minutes. He's not going to have the same impact. He's definitely not. So Nick Robertson doesn't seem like the guy who can play 6 minutes a night and give you the impact. But maybe if you get him, and he has to earn it, but if you can get him into the 12, 13, 14 minute a night range, then he can actually show you what he's got and he can produce. And honestly, I feel like at a time like this where we are looking at change and again, an assistant coach was fired because things weren't going well, I feel like now is a time for you to experiment with things like this because you are making changes. So if a guy is going like Nick Robertson is, then hey, maybe Michelli, you take a seat, you go on PP2, and we give Nicky Bobby a look on PP1. Something like that. Like give the guys a little bit of, like, you give him the carrot and the stick, right? Give him the carrot.
Yeah.
He's worked his ass off. So give him a little more power play time or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think also to go, this will be like looking in the rearview mirror type of moment, but I think part of the problem you have in the past, and it's not just necessarily about the play, because you want guys to step up and play this way anyways, but I wonder if there's an element here where it was too little too late, or is potentially too little too late when you talk about guys being able to step up and be vocal and be leaders and be bigger voices, because as you pointed out, Nick Robertson's the guy who's doing the rah and getting guys going. There's a lot of times I watch and it's Nick Waugh who's sitting beside Easton Cowan on the bench, and he's the guy kind of having the conversations with him. What'd you see here? What happened there? And kind of getting boys going. You watch Matthew Nyes go out there and fight Nico Heischer. Now, obviously, I don't think that it's necessarily Matthew Nyes who's the guy who is scared to come into his own and have his own voice on the team, but I think having the big boys here, and specifically like the core 4 plus Riley, so the 5, if you want to go to that, in years past, takes up a lot of, or had taken up a lot of oxygen and taken that away from guys that are around them. And now you see in a game like this, none of them are here. First time since 2016, Vic, that none of them, no Nylander, Matthews, or Marner, played in a Maple Leafs game since 2016. You have other guys who are forced to step up, maybe feel a little bit more confident. Maybe you can kind of find something in there where now all of a sudden you get Nick Robertson who finds a voice, who plays more minutes, develops some more confidence, because guess what, Nicky Bobby? No one else is here, so you can take some onus on yourself. John Tavares is there with you, but you can have a bigger voice. Lawton can have a bigger voice. Nyes can have a bigger voice, and you guys can kind of be more focal points of this, where you don't want that long term, but maybe this little gap here where there's no Matthews, there's no Nylander, can open things up for some of these other guys to kind of come into their own and find their way. In terms of the conversation about trading pieces, Vic, I've kind of gotten to the point where I just don't know what the fuck to do with this team. So my stance on this that I've developed, and I think I'm going to stick with this, is you don't touch anything until the Olympic break. And shit can obviously, like, you go on a freeze. There's a roster freeze during the Olympic break. So you can't move guys, but you can have conversations. And I think what it does for you, to kind of answer your question, and we're going to talking more about tonight's game than anything else, but I think what it does for you is gives you a little bit more runway here where everything in the Eastern Conference is so tight. If you go on a heater, you could be in a playoff spot by next
tomorrow.
Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow, yeah. Sure. But like it's the same sentiment. Like if the Rangers lose and the Maple Leafs win the next 2, they could be in a playoff spot. Like it's easy as that. You pass the Devils, you pass the Rangers, you continue to build up, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, we won 3 games, we're in a playoff spot. So that could happen. And that's not necessarily to say the Maple Leafs are a good team or they should be there, but it's kind of hard to tank out when you have Nylander, Matthews, Tavares, Nyes, Tanev if he plays, McCabe, Lawton. Like, you have all these pieces. You're just like too good to be a bottom 5 team. So if you put it together, you let them run. On the other side, if you go on like status quo and nothing changes, you're at the basement right now. Like, you are not necessarily like on the bubble or in a wild card and you're like scratching and clawing and you're going to make trades to stay in it. You're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference here, even still with the win tonight. Like, you're technically still at the bottom. So if you're still at that by Olympic break, you open things up, you sit around and you go, okay, maybe we don't do this. Maybe we don't push this year. And then you can take that 2.5 week, 3 week break that you get from the Olympics for Brad Treliving to basically use it like the summer. How often do we talk about, like, it's hard for trades to happen mid-season? Games are happening, injuries are happening, things are moving on the fly. You get an Olympic break, it opens things up for maybe more conversations, more in-depth conversations, and more opportunity for you to kind of gauge the market and start to figure out what you do and don't have available to you. And maybe that period of time just opens things up. So that's my stance, is like, don't touch shit. If you got to bring guys in, you bring them from the Marlies, you bring them from waivers, you don't trade for the pieces, and you figure out what you have here on this roster right now.
I love it. I came up with a little barometer here, like something we can judge this Leafs team by. If at the beginning of the year, I know they're the hottest team in hockey right now, but you're currently below the Buffalo Sabres in the standings. So if by the Olympic break, I don't care where they are in the standings, if you're below the Buffalo Sabres in the standings, don't make any moves. How about that? You cool with that?
That's a pretty good barometer. I will accept that barometer.
Also, like while you were talking, I was just kind of remembering. I mean, you were talking about the Olympic break, and I was just like, could you imagine if we get reports that like Austin Matthews is asking Jack Eichel what it's like to live in Las Vegas and play in Vegas and what it's like? And I got Four Nations flashback, so it kind of scared me a little bit. But sorry,
If there's
that's a little off
one
topic.
If there is one single report about that, I don't mean to do like a negativity show here tonight. They
Yeah,
won
yeah.
4-0, and we're in a pretty good spot. But if there's one single conversation about that, Vic, I'm legit just telling him like, give me the list. Like,
Just go.
we're trading you.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah,
Just
we're
go.
not doing this again. Give me the list. We're trading you.
Zach, can I take over the show for 1 second
Dude,
because
do what you want. Have at it. Also, just quickly, I'm going to remind people, 600
yeah.
people watching right now. Like and subscribe. Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. My goal, I wanted 20K by Christmas. We blew past 20K by Christmas. My next goal, and I know I'm being greedy here, and people want analysis about the game, but I want to get into this. I want 25K by the Olympics. 25K is the next goal, Vic. That's what I want next. So if you're watching right now and you haven't already, like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well. Every set of 50 likes, 50, 100, 150, 200, we'll do the smelling salts here. So keep liking the stream. Vic, over to you. What do you got for me?
All right. Again, we spoke very briefly, but he's very, very slowly, and I don't know if he's got there now, but Jake McCabe is becoming my favorite player on this team. That guy is he's what we hoped and wished and prayed that Chris Tanev would be this year. He's just a shot blocking machine. I think he had 8 tonight. 8 blocked shots, a bunch on the PK, saves Joseph Woll, his shutout. And another thing that I was looking at, which was kind of surprising to me, he's a plus 19, I believe, on the season, and he's like 12th in the NHL and plus minus on this garbage tire fire of a fucking team that we've seen so far. He has been absolutely lights out, and I just want to give Jake McCabe some love because fuck, he deserves it.
He does deserve it. That was one guy I talked about in the game preview today when I found out that Chris Tanev was out, that I was like, I feel bad for him. He had a tough start to the season. I think he probably felt like he had to carry a lot of this load, knowing, okay, no Tanev is here. Brandon Carlo wasn't playing that well. You were dealing with injuries up front when it came to the forwards, and he's probably looking around being like, okay, a lot of this is going to come down to me, whether it's matchup-wise, if it is minute-wise because we're missing guys, as well as like pairings. He's going to have to take some of those on and play a more important role. Jake McCabe has been fucking awesome since that period at the beginning. I think probably about a 5 to 7 game stretch where I think he didn't look very comfortable. He didn't look very good to open this season. And then OEL kind of stepped up and was like your number one guy. I think that gave McCabe some time to get into his own this year. Stetcher comes in, starts to help him just not have to carry so much himself, elevates his play. And then you look at where you're at now. Chris Tanev comes back. That pairing was like +8 or some shit like that over 3 games that Tanev returns. And I go on the pregame today. I'm like, Chris Tanev's not playing. I feel bad for McCabe. Like, McCabe is just on an island again. And, he seems to figure it out no matter who he plays with. So it's not like it's the end of the world. And obviously he's not getting Seward if he's going out there with OEL, but it's just the concept of like, you get Chris Tanev, you get your boy back. You see all the walk-in pictures. It's the two of them walking in together every single time. And seeing him go down, or seeing Chris Tanev go down and see McCabe, I was like, damn, I kind of feel bad for him because he's going to be all on his own, but just continues to find ways to elevate his play no matter what is going on. And Jake McCabe has himself another fucking awesome night tonight. So kudos to McCabe, and that is a great shout out, Vic.
Yeah, +2 tonight, +21 on the season. I think Stetcher's now a +9 or +8, and he's played a lot with McCabe in the absence of Chris Tanev. So, God, I don't know the addition of Troy Stetcher has put a whole different life on this team. He's been remarkable in his own right. But yeah, I just love Jake McCabe. I always last year I was joking with the Morning Cup of Hockey boys that Anthony Stolar should be on Team USA, and I would just not stop. I was getting to the point where I was pissing them off. But now this year it's been Jake McCabe. I've been saying Jake McCabe gets no love. Jake McCabe no love for Olympics.
Jake
no
McCabe
love for, Olympics.
for Team USA.
Team USA. And honestly, I'm happy he's not on the team because he's fucking amazing, and I don't want to play against him. So
yeah. And also, I guess if you're the Leafs, you're concerned about health and keeping
all
guys in your
stuff.
lineup. So that's probably pretty important here now too. Keep hitting that like button. Keep subscribing. We've got some super chats I want to get to here. Just a quick reminder to people, proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity. Every time you guys send super chats, that is who you are helping out. Last year we raised over $4,400. This year I think we're on pace to blow past that. A couple big streams here this season, but Sick Kids Charity, Canada's #1 research-intensive children's hospital, #3 in North America. Let's get to some of these super chats. Maxentius Decimus Vic jumps in right away, one of the #1 super chatters here on this channel. He says, number 34 and 88, no 34 and 88, and everyone buys in. Go figure. It was probably the best team buy-in game of the season, Vic, I would say.
Yeah, I can't knock that, but again, play like that every night, whether they're in the lineup or not, whether they're doing it or not. You do the same. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't matter if they're the rah-rah guys, if they're the leaders or whatever. Play like that every night, and you'll win more times than not.
Everybody should be able to elevate and do that. Everybody should be able to elevate and play with that intensity, that engagement, that kind of stuff every night. Maybe not the point production, that's fair. That's why you're not regular top 6 guys, but that intensity should be there. Also, just note, as we continue on through some of these super chats, we will open things up to take calls in a moment while we just wrap up some of the super chats. And Vic continues to give his thoughts here before he goes and hits the hay and tries to recover from this illness that he's dealing with. Just want to continue on with super chats and remind the 600 people watching right now, we will get to calls shortly. But Vic, Urban Droid sends a $60 super chat here. Same sentiment as Maxentius Decimus. No Matthews or Nylander, but we had Jesus, Mary, and Joseph Woll. Nice team effort. Go Leafs, go. This one comes in from David Owens. David says, does that game make you happy or furious? That's a good question, Vic. I'll give that one to you first. Does this game and seeing them do this and play that way, and everyone buys in, and everyone elevates their play, and realizing part of this is probably because you have no Matthews and Nylander, does seeing that make you happy, or does it make you furious?
Super, super, super happy. Not just because I'm a positive guy and I like to smile a lot, but more because it wasn't the first one. This is, 4 games now since the Savard firing, and where we actually saw a little bit of, I don't know. I think they changed their style of play a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you disagree with me, let me know. But
no,
I feel like there's been a little shift in how they're playing, right? A little more hang on to the puck, a little less dump and chase. And it's giving me hope and optimism that, hey, maybe what we're seeing is a change in style, a change in X's and O's or whatever, and it's fitting this team better. It's fitting the roster better. So I'm a little more optimistic than angry, I think. It seems to be working. The guys are moving their legs, and it's not the first game that we've seen it. So that's why it makes me happier than angry.
I think big picture, in the short term, it makes me happy because I'm happy to see these guys step up and play that way and maybe start to find some confidence or realize that they have some of these abilities that maybe they didn't previously think that they had, or maybe it opens the eyes of Craig Berube to realize some guys can do some things that he didn't previously know, because sometimes you look at your big boys and you just rely upon them in some scenarios. That said, it does also frustrate me big picture because I look at where you're at 38 games into the season. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say this. And I know there's a lot of people who still think I'm an idiot or will still think I'm an idiot at the end of the season, but like, I think the moves that were made in the offseason, and I think the team on paper is good enough at bare minimum to be a playoff team. So it's frustrating for me to be where you are right now, scratching and clawing for every point, every win. That's why I was so frustrated with the game on Sunday, because you should have walked away with a regulation win against the Red Wings. Instead, you walk away with an overtime loss. You hand a team that you're chasing in the standings 2 points. You only get one yourself. It doesn't help you climb the standings. And, you're watching the Montreal Canadiens. They get points every single fucking night. Win or lose, they get points. These are teams you're playing against. They are adding to their totals. So it just frustrates me that it takes to this point in the season for them to have a game like this, where, you start to look at some of the depth. You start to look at some of your bottom guys in your roster elevate and get different opportunities, and then they step up and they show that they can do this. That's what frustrates me, big picture, because it's if you showed up 20 games ago, 15 games ago and did this, you're not having to be as desperate. We're not having the same conversations about what this team is or could be if those guys elevate in those moments and kind of get themselves to this type of game, because if they play this way consistently and they can find this team game and find this intensity and buy-in, I'm not saying you're going 82-0, but you're getting a lot more points at bare minimum than you would have over the first 35 games leading into that Pittsburgh game. So big picture, a little frustrating. Short term, very happy with this effort and this performance here tonight, and very happy to see and excited to see what it turns into on Thursday and then on Saturday, and then how they can carry that over going forward, because seeing those guys find that, seeing Nick Robertson step up, those are moments and things for me that it's okay, there's positives to take away from this that you can carry over into the next game. Vic, are you playing the soundtrack right now?
I have this I have one of these and I hit the wrong button, and I guess it has sound effects attached to it. I tried to hit my unmute button. And
so it's just going through your soundboard.
So it just went through my soundboard. Yeah, that's amazing stuff. I was just to add to what you're saying here. Sorry about that. I'm actually probably gonna play that on my way out. So it's my little soundtrack off the show.
Okay, cool.
Now that I know that it does that, I don't think I've ever hit that button before. Can Steve Sullivan win the Jack Adams Award as an assistant coach?
Has that ever been done?
What a fucking difference since this guy's been hired. I don't know what it is. It can't just be the one guy. I feel like there had to have been more of a talk with the coaching staff. Hey, guys, this isn't working. We need to figure out a different way to play. And it's a whole organizational wide buy-in to this different way to play, because I don't think one guy that's an assistant had this much say in how the team plays. But man, oh man, what a difference it's been since we've had him.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that he could possibly have done to jump in here. I talked about it. There's so much stuff with the power play that's interesting. Face-off plays are things you could do. Just having conversations and being more of a mental coach, I think, is something you could do as a power play coach. Transition and zone entries is obviously a thing as well, but I just find it hard to believe there's too much coaching that goes on in terms of what you do once you're inside the blue line. I wonder if there's just an element here of I'm not going to say anything. I'm here if you have questions and want to talk about what you see. Otherwise, it's up to you guys. Do what you need to do. And maybe that was enough for these guys to gain some confidence here, start to bury more, because the power play has been on fire since Mark Savard was fired. It even goes back to the Pittsburgh game when Savard was first gone before Sullivan even came in. So it's a weird situation. But credit to Sullivan, I guess.
Yeah, there's no sugarcoating it. There's no other way to say it. Since he's been gone, the power play looks different. They're getting more shots, they're getting more movement, and they're scoring goals. It's not opinion, it's fact. You can see it with your own eyes. So I don't know what this guy was doing, but he can wear his Boston Bruins jersey on Twitter now and think he's, funny. I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Do you, man?
Good for you. You were fired from being the power play coach because you were terrible at running the power play. Oh no.
Yeah.
Whatever will be.
Yeah. Let's be petty about that. I don't know.
Yeah, that may maybe be better at your job, I guess. People in the chat here, Vic, saying porno music, wondering if they can send in requests to you. So a lot of comments about the music that was played there, but also a few more super chats to get to, and then I'll let you go before I get to some calls here tonight. Still 600 people watching. Bunch of likes here, almost 150, so keep liking the stream. I will make up for all the smelling salts that we've missed here while Vic's been on, but more super chats we got to get to. Let's get to this one first, and then I'll work our way backwards. A $200, you know what? Fuck it. Play one of those sounds for this one. $200 super chat comes in from Tom Robbins. Shout out Tom for the $200 super chat. Woo! Thank you, Tom. Tom says, great team win tonight. I hope that when the big boys come back, they play just as hard after watching how tonight went. That will or may be the difference this year in the second half. So just comments about the team win. Hopes that when the big boys come back, they play just as hard after watching what everyone else on the ice did here tonight. Shout out to Tom, first of all, for the $200 super chat. Again, proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity. So the more you guys send in, the more you help out sick kids. So continue to send in those massive super chats. We do appreciate it. And Tom has been firing away on the After Dark show with those super chats himself. Vic, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, but I also look at Nylander, I look at Matthews, I look at the guys who were on the ice first as well, and say and hope they can realize what they've done here in this game tonight, the way they played, the way they bought in, and carry that over going forward for the rest of the season. But I hope Matthews and Nylander watched this game tonight and went, oh fuck, like these boys battled in our absence. When we come back, we got to step up and rise to the moment too.
I don't think that's at all what they're thinking, but I'm also done hoping. I'm also done hoping that that's what they're thinking. But again, we have seen them play better, and a little bit of, watching Jack Hughes tonight, and every single time that guy had the puck on the ice, he's like, I'm better than everyone out here, and I'm going to prove it. Yeah. And he did that over and over and over for 60 minutes. I know they didn't score any goals, but he scared the shit out of me every time he touched the puck. And I remember a time when Austin Matthews used to do that. I remember a time when William Nylander used to do that. So let's see a little bit more of that, because, when you're the best player on the ice and you know it and you play like it, that's when you're the most dangerous, Austin. That's when you're the most dangerous, Willie.
Yeah.
I think people are saying I'm on Ozempic in the chat, or I saw one like that. That was funny. I was like, what?
I didn't see that. I sent you a text. I don't know if you saw it. My dad said, I'm just going to read it on there. He texted me off the top of the show, and he goes, Vic looks like he's got one of those head stabilizers on. That thing has to go. Talking about your headphones. You know what
my
I'm
headset?
talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, sorry, Papa Phillips. I will. They don't give me anything good in prison here. I don't even have paint on my walls. I have no posters. It's just a white room here that I work out of, and I'll get new headphones for you.
More super chats to get to before I let you go, Vic. Let's rattle off a couple here. Our guy KPG says, 2025 top 10 moment. First 9 seconds of U.S. versus Canada. Greta Bar with the boys. I lost my friggin' mind. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get some more watch-alongs and some more in-person stuff going in the future, because that was a lot of fun, to be honest with you, getting to do that Canada game, the Four Nations stuff, as well as the playoffs with everybody at the bar in person. Six Sense Digital says, watch the Leafs 2025 playoff goal compilation today. My God, it's electric. Will be hard to accept not making it this year. Hope they can find a way. Sixth Sense, I would say, if they can't find a way, I hope they recognize and accept it and make the right moves. KPG says, if Savard was fired 12 months ago, here, Vic, ready? If Savard was fired 12 months ago, Leafs would have beaten Panthers in 6. MLSE moves way, way, way too slow. That would have been Was that a year? No, because he came in with Brube, so that would have been like 3
Yeah,
months into his tenure.
into his. I mean, and honestly, nobody remembers this, but the Leafs had the hottest power play in the league, I think, after November, and then that obviously died in, I think, April. But yeah, they were buzzing there for a little bit. But yeah, you can't fire a guy 3 months in, can you? I mean, they might have tried because we heard rumors that they tried, but I don't know. Do you agree with that?
No. The issues they had last year. What? That if they had no Mark Savard, they would have beaten the Panthers? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
No, they would not.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
No.
Why?
Vic. Because they didn't lose game 5 and 7 because of the power play. They lost 5 and 7 because
they might have lost 3 and 4.
No. No. Dude, the game 3 was not a power play problem game. Game 4 was not a power play problem game.
Okay, that's fair. All right, I'll move on. But
I don't remember watching those games being like, shit, if the power play was buzzing tonight. Maybe it would have helped. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't remember it being a games that I was like, fuck, wish the power play was scoring. Last one here, Vic, before I get you out and start to get some callers here on the show tonight. Nate Dogg 3654 with the super chat. You'll like this one. This is a good one to leave on. This was proof of Austin Matthews' incredible leadership. Even though he's gone, the memory of his courage and sacrifices inspired them to get their best win of the season. Kind of like Braveheart.
Hey, he blocked a shot. He sacrificed for the greater good, and he got the team the win. I agree, Nate Dogg. All Austin Matthews tonight.
Nate Dogg is the first person on every postgame who comes here and just torches 34 for something every single time. So that is a pretty funny comment. I appreciate that. Also, actually, we did get one more here as you were about to leave. J-Rock, our guy J-Rock with the super chat. Savvy needed just a free... J-Rock, what the fuck is this? I can't read this. Savvy needed just a free more days, clearly. What does that mean? Like, did he mean a few more days? Savvy needed just a few more days?
He corrected himself in the chat there. Yeah, a few more days.
I didn't see that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. All right. Well, J-Rock's been messaging me all season about Dakota Joshua, and he said, wait, and he'll be better, and he was right, and now we lost him. So J-Rock's probably hurting right now. No Mark Savard, no Dakota Joshua for the Leafs for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I'll just go back to it to like kind of, I know I've kept you a long time, but like just the one thing that I was talking about in the pregame that was unfortunate. And I don't know if it's like a good or bad thing for the team in terms of trying to figure out what you are and what this season could be. But like, that was the thing that sucked was the guys you lost. Each one of the guys was a guy who had just started to figure things out. Nylander broke the slump. He started to look good. He went down in that game. Matthews started to actually play like himself a little bit more. Like he started to get himself back in the rhythm where all of a sudden it's not like he's like a zombie sleepwalking through games. Like he's kind of making more of an impact. That line was starting to click. They were looking good. They were looking dangerous. He's scoring some goals. And then you go into that Detroit game. I thought that's probably the best game that he's had, in my opinion, at least to this point, or at least best 40 minutes that he's had this year, and then blocks that shot and leaves in the second period, comes out for the third period, and it's like you're fucking back to where you were, zombie land for Matthews in the third. And then Kristanev comes back. He goes out after having come back and played a few really good games and getting that bump to Jake McCabe. And then adding on to it was Dakota Joshua is finding his own, and he goes out and it seems like it's a serious injury. It's like, fuck, man. You keep getting each of these guys who, like, this is where I say it's confusing or a tough time, because if each of these guys had played the way that they were over the last little while from the beginning of the season, again, you're not in the position you are in the season right now. You know what I mean? Like, you are getting more points, you're getting more wins, you're higher up in the standings. You're just trying to kind of survive a little bit in the middle ground, probably more than you are. And then you finally start to get these guys cooking the way you expected they would to start the season, and then they go out with injury right when you kind of need it the most, when you need the points the most. And it's like, I don't fucking know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of this season, the injuries, these guys going out at this time. Like, is it a blessing in disguise? Does it fucking suck? I truly just cannot tell right now, Vic. I can't tell.
Yeah, and I'm going to look at this in a positive way again. Just put a positive spin on it because I'm really, really happy with the effort today. Really, really happy with the win. So it looked like Matthews took the shot in the knee or the foot or ankle. It was a leg, whatever the puck hit. I don't remember. I don't know if I saw it clearly, to be honest with you. But what's been ailing him, at least we think, is his back or his wrist. So if he can get a few days to rest those fucking things and come back stronger, it feels like this one that's taking him out of the lineup is a new injury. So hopefully he can rest the old injuries and we can get closer to seeing the Austin Matthews that we're used to.
Maybe you can get some sleep, get some rest, keep off your back, keep off your wrist, no jerking off.
We can clearly win without him.
We can win without him. Take the time that you need. Get yourself healthy, and then come back, and we'll be all good. We'll be all good, Vic. Maybe we'll turn this thing around. Thanks for jumping on here tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to do so. As always, I've got some more stuff to do here on the post game as Vic plays himself out of here. So thanks, Vic. We'll see you tomorrow for Leafs Morning Take. All right.
Peace out. Thanks for having me, Zach.
Producer Vic jumping on the post game to help give his thoughts on tonight's Leafs-Devils game, 4-0 win for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Before we get to callers here, which I did send the link into the chat there, you want to call into the show, click the link that's pinned in the chat. Give me your thoughts on tonight's game. Are the Maple Leafs back? Is this a team that you can trust going forward? How do you feel about what we saw from this group without Austin Matthews, without William Nylander? I want to hear all of it, so pinned at the top of the chat there is the link to call into the show here tonight. I want to hear from you guys on this game. Again, thanks to Vic for calling in here and giving his thoughts. Before we get to any callers here tonight, I want to get to our best bet segment. Our best bet is a presentation of Bet365. Use code NATION. That's NATION, code NATION, NATION, must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bet tonight, unfortunately, just after kind of getting back into the rhythm of things, our best bet in this one loses. We did go with a Nicky Bobby anytime goal. We did a quarter of a unit on that one. It would have profited us here tonight, 112.5. Rationale behind this one was mostly just he's going to be elevated on the lineup. He's been playing well lately. It looks like he has some life. He's got some jump. Responded pretty well, it seemed, at least, to the Berube kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say call out. Like, he didn't, like, call him out publicly necessarily, but I guess by sending him into to the press box and then cutting some minutes, it's at least sending a message to Nick Robertson, and he seemed like he kind of answered. He seemed like he got himself back into the flow of things the way that he had been when he's been rocking at different points in this season. He didn't cash the anytime goal score here tonight. That one loses a quarter of a unit for us, but I think it was the right process and it was the right bet. It just does not win. So Nicky Bobby, anytime goal, does not win. That was our best bet here tonight. That brings our season total to down minus 5.9 units. It's been a tough one, but again, much like the Maple Leafs, it pretty much actually copied the Maple Leaf stretch there as well, back to the Bruins game, into actually even before that, like the first Bruins game, all the way through to the San Jose game. Like, just this slump of all slumps for the way that the team was playing, where we also could not win bets. I think it was 21 straight losses here on the post game for the best bet segment, but finally getting ourselves back in the right direction. So hope that can figure itself out, and the pattern of at least the last 10 best bets can more so be where we're at, because if that's the case, we'll be back in the positive before you know it. Again, call into the show here tonight by clicking the link in the chat. It is pinned at the top of the chat there. So click on that link. You can call in and give your thoughts on tonight's game. That may be the wrong link, actually. I'm just realizing. So let me fix that quickly because I think that might be to the stream from game 38. So maybe that is why that's not working. There you go. Fucking Leafs. Leafs are over 500 and you are not even close, Zach. Thank you, fucking Leafs. Very observative. What the fuck word was I just trying to say? Great observation. Very astute. Fucking Leafs. Thank you. DV8R. Deviator. That's your OnlyFans link, Zach. No. There is no OnlyFans. There will be no OnlyFans. Nobody wants to see that shit. 150 likes here on the postgame means smelling salt. So thank you guys for liking, watching, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. Keep hitting that like button. We got to get 3 smelling salts in here for you guys for liking the stream tonight. So here's the first set of smelling salts. I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream here so far tonight. Here's the smelling salts. There you go. I owe you guys 2 more. Again, you want to call in and give your thoughts on tonight's game, hit that link pinned in the chat. Prague did call in, by the way, the other day. Gave his thoughts on the game. It was the first time we've heard from Prague in a while. It did kind of go off a cliff. I start to wonder if Prague is maybe Edna in disguise. For those who are on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Prague had some interesting thoughts about the 2002 NHL draft and why it impacts the way the Leafs play today. You never know what you're going to get with Prague. Never know what you're going to get. Keep liking, keep subscribing here tonight. As we continue on here with the show, let's get to our segments and continue to knock off some things that we got to do here. So with that, let's get to our play of the game. Play of the game in this one for me, I think I'm going to go... What am I going to go with? I think play of the game... I'll go with the Bobby McMahon goal. Opens the scoring. Power play goal. I think that the energy, the intensity, and the engagement there to open the game was much better. But, I mean, I kept watching the transitions and breaking the puck up the ice, and I was thinking, like, fuck, this might be one of those ones where they just can't string things together. They can't piece together passes. They can't break out cleanly, and it just felt like it was just going to be, hey, it's going to have to be a hardworking game. And then it started to get a little bit better. It started to get a little bit cleaner here in this one. And then that Bobby McMahon goal, we talked about it, like power play goal. The power play's been on fire lately. Nick Robertson, great hold at the line. Instead of forcing anything, hits Bobby McMahon breaking down the middle, rips that shot from the high slots, kind of high slot, top of the circles area, like beats Markstrom. Bobby McMahon has been playing amazing in the month of December here. The great keep by Nick Robertson to allow that play to happen. That's my play of the game. Honorable mention, I'll go with the Matthew Knies fight. Honorable mention, stepping up and fighting there was pretty awesome. I mean, watching him look across at Hischier and say, you want to fight, you want to fight, you want to fight. Hischier not really doing anything. I don't know what the context there is in terms of like what those two were saying, because it didn't seem like Matthew Knies was expecting the fight that much in terms of like, I don't think he thought Hischier was going to accept it, was going to fight him there. And Hischier kind of got a quick grab on him early. Like he was like saying no, and then just kind of jumped and grabbed him. And But Nyes just very quickly got that left hand free and started chucking. Didn't really land anything crazy on Hischier, but you could just tell in that moment the strength that Matthew Nyes has when he's out there trying to throw bombs and getting in that fight. Like, it was very quickly over, and although he didn't really land any massive punches in that one, like, that was very decisively in Matthew Nyes' favor. I'm not going to call it a win, but it was just like in his favor of, how that one went. And you could tell that he's a big, scary man. And if he fights more often, he's going to be a fucking problem going forward. If he's a guy who can step up and kind of deal with matters himself, it's scary. Oh, another play of the game. I'll kind of give it player, but then I'm going to go on to a very specific play that happened. Player of the game, I'll go to Joseph Woll just in general for what he did tonight. Gets a 33 save shutout and the 4-0 win here. I thought he looked fucking awesome tonight. And then I'm also going to go with play of the game to narrow down what Joseph Woll did. End of the second period, power play for the Devils. That falling back on his ass save that Joseph Woll made was awesome. Quite frankly, awesome. Like, there's not too much technique that goes into that. That's a reactionary save. Falling back, grabbing that. So much credit to Joseph Woll for the night that he had, and then that save is very worthy of a play of the game for me. Let's get to callers. First caller on the line. He's a guy who calls in pretty much every show here now. He's a regular on the line. Let's get to Mando. Mando, do we got you there? Mando. Mando, can you hear us? Mando might not be working. We'll figure it out. We'll see if maybe Mando is on mute or something is gone awry on his end. In the meantime, we did hit smelling salts. We need to hit the smelling salts. We did hit 150, so I'll do the first 100. I do see Mando in the waiting room. Here's the smelling salts. There you go. More smelling salts. That's for 100. We got to do 50 more. Still, 500 people watching the game here tonight. Keep liking the stream. Keep subscribing to the channel. Captain Submarine. People only care about Prague. Zach sounds like listening to Forrest Gump. Well, thank you, Captain Submarine. Appreciate that. I think
Zach,
we got Mando. There we go.
Yes.
What's up, Mando?
Sorry, I was kind of a combination on mute, and I was distracted. Hey, I'm doing good. Yeah, that was definitely the best game. And the question was asked: is this make you really happy, or does it infuriate you? Actually, it kind of infuriates me because you look at this group, and they have it in them. I mean, they played awesome. Like I don't even know of. The only thing maybe Benoit kind of doing his thing, getting into penalty trouble, making bad defensive maneuvers with his stick, and getting into the penalty. But other than that, I mean, even Myers played well. I mean, it was outstanding. It's probably the best game, and I don't know what to make of this team. I mean, is it too little, too late? Is it a one-off? Mind you, I think Keefe got caught in, what do they call that? A trap game where they think, oh, these guys are severely, shorthanded. Their star players aren't there. This will be easy.
Yeah.
That could be one. They did play like shit, to be honest. New Jersey, it just felt like they just didn't have it. I mean, the Leafs were just skating all over them most of the game. And when they got hemmed in by New Jersey, New Jersey couldn't score. I mean, Woll was awesome, probably his best game as well. So, hopefully it's not too little too late. If they can keep doing this, maybe play 800 hockey until the trade deadline. I don't know, but I think there's another uh, deadline, like kind of a pseudo deadline, is the Olympics. I agree that was brought up. During the Olympic break, are they going to just look at where everyone is and just make a call saying, "Yep, we're in the playoffs," or we're not. And if you're not in the playoffs, you're going to sell, right? So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a weird time right now because at the beginning of the season, I think we all looked around and said the East was mediocre. The East was mediocre, and now I don't think that that's very much the case anymore. There's probably a degree of mediocrity in the Eastern Conference, but I think the East is also just very even. It's very balanced across the entire conference, across the entire division. You're now looking at the Maple Leafs here tonight, 42 points. The Detroit Red Wings are first in the Atlantic with 49, 7 points ahead of you. The Maple Leafs are out of a playoff spot by 3 points. Like it's just a very confusing situation where the number I'm just reading this here now. The number one team in the entire conference has 51 points. The last place team in the conference has 40 with the Columbus Blue Jackets. How many times do you think we could look 38 games into the season, or 39, 40 games into the season, 41 games for some of these teams? Even just look at New Year's as a barometer. I tried to kind of stay away from that because there's probably years where there was lockouts or shortened seasons or whatever like that, where these things might apply. But how many times could you look and say the first place team in a conference is only 11 points ahead of the last place team in the conference at New Year's? That is where it becomes weird. And I think you look over to the Western Conference, like there's people online saying, oh, the San Jose Sharks are like, this is a tweet I read earlier today, and it was like, I can't believe people were saying Timothy Liljegren was not good, and he's a top 4 defenseman on a playoff team this right now. Well, that playoff team is the San Jose Sharks. They have 41 points. The Toronto Maple Leafs have 42. They have more points right now, and they have more teams to climb than teams on the Western Conference who were in a playoff spot right now. It's a weird spot. That's why I think allowing yourself to get through until the Olympic break just gives you enough time, and it gives you enough time coming out of the Olympic break to kind of look at where you're at, evaluate your team, evaluate your surroundings, and then make decisions about your future.
Yeah, it is weird, and I look at the Detroit game, and that's kind of a game where I think Toronto played well, but Detroit also played well. I mean, they played extremely well. So I'm looking at that. I'm saying, okay, Detroit, who are your stars? You have Larkin, and then you have DeBrincat, and they're playing well as a team. But you think of that team. Yeah, if they get into the playoffs, how far are they really going to go? And if the Leafs are having problems with a Detroit team right now, that gives me some some worry, to be honest. I think really the best case scenario is if both Nylander, Matthews are playing at the top level of their game, meaning they're maintaining their peak performances, like through the last, I don't know, whatever their best years were. Maybe not the 60 goal season, but in order for this team to really have a chance to go deep, these guys have to really be at the top of the game, and they're not there. Now, will they get there? We'll see. I don't know, but just for this game, though, I think the good news is Woll. You have Woll and Hildeby. Stolarz, that worries me. We don't really know what the hell's going on with this guy, and he just signed a contract. That's bad, but at least we have Hildeby, who's playing excellent. So we still have a good tandem to draw from. This game was, I couldn't believe it. It was Nick Robertson blew up Dylan, was it? It was unbelievable. Like I saw that, I'm like, oh my! I got up, and then
I think
and then
that
right
was
after
Nick Waugh. I thought that was Nick Waugh who laid that hit. I don't think that was.
He got blown up
Robertson
twice. Robertson blew him up, and then after Nick Waugh blew him up again, and he just gave up.
Okay,
It was
I gotta watch that again. I I'm not trying to take this away from Nick Robertson. I just thought that they were battling and pushing back and forth, and it was just like a heated little scrum, and then Nick Woll was the one who blew him up. But I'll check it again, Mando, for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like and the angle from where the camera was, you just saw Dylan kind of, fall backwards. After Robertson hit him, it looked so great. Just from that angle. From the other angle, maybe not as good, but it caught him off balance for sure. And he landed on the ice on his ass.
Yep. You're right. I see. I'm watching this here.
The optics were great. It looked great. That's all I can say. Coming from Nick Robertson, those three guys. Two guys, Robertson and Bobby McMahon. Like, awesome game. Like the way they controlled the play. You sprinkle in Cowan there. Quillen was, had his hand in the third goal, that yarn croak. I don't know what was that. I think it went off somebody's ass, to be honest. One of the new defenders. But
I think it hit him.
That third goal was the dagger. That was.
Yeah. So this is the play that I was talking about right here. So I'll show this, by the way, just quickly here, Mando, before you go further. This is the play I was referencing. You can see up the wall, Nick Robertson pushes Dylan down, and then Waugh is the one who throws him right there. But that was Nick Robertson who pushes him. In real time, that was just what stood out to me was that hit. But yes, the Nick Robertson hit, I think, which is just prior to this, was a pretty fucking awesome hit as well. So yes, credit to Nick Robertson and some credit to somebody in the chat. Credit to Tic Tac Tomar, but credit to somebody in the chat who pointed out it was Tic Tac Tomar who tweeted that one. So thank you for helping me find that, and credit to Nick Robertson, I guess, for the fucking huge hit. What else you got for us tonight, Mando?
Nope, nothing else. I guess just we'll see what happens. New Year's Day night, I guess. They made a mistake on the broadcast. They said New Year's Eve, or somebody said New Year's Eve. They're not playing tomorrow's New Year's Eve. It's going to be the day after, right? That's going to be a big game. All these games are big. Like these next games is almost like must win. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, if they continue playing like this, let's see where this goes. Hopefully, Sullivan did something to these guys.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably some. I just feel like you have a guy like that come in there, changes kind of some of the conversations that are being had. Maybe the voice is different, the approach is different. It's also, this is pure speculation on my behalf, but I wonder what the dynamic was like, because I think a lot of times in the NHL, look, let me be very clear. Very, very clear. This is pure speculation. I don't know the dynamics of this for fact, but it was something I thought about at the end when we found out that Craig Berube had advocated to keep Marc Savard when the team had tried to let him go prior to, and he stuck up for Marc Savard. And it was kind of assumed, hey, maybe this is a warning shot at the coaching staff. You don't perform, we don't execute, you can't get the guys to do what we need them to do, you'll be next because you stuck up for that guy and we're going to get him out of here even though you tried to block this previously. The one thing I started to think of that really made me kind of realize the dynamic of the room, or think about what the dynamic of the room might have been after that, is how often is it that a coach advocates so hard for an assistant coach to stay if the upper management is looking to move on from the guy, right, Mando? So the thing that I started to think about here in all of this is typically assistant coaches are the guys who are buddy-buddy with the players. They're the ones who are the good cop. They're the ones who play more Mr. Nice Guy and are there to be the friends of the players, and the coach can come in and rip guys and tear them apart and get pissed off about shit, but then the players can come in to the assistant coach's office, and the assistant coach can say, hey, buddy, it's all good. Well, let's talk this through. What'd you see here? What happened there? No, that guy's a dick. Maybe make the mood a little bit lighter and build the guy back up, where the coach can come in, send his message, and then the assistant coach can come in and kind of bring the guy back up and be a little bit of a closer lifeline to the players. Well, if Mark Savard is so tight with Craig Berube, maybe there's an element of the players just not feeling as comfortable around him as maybe they would with other assistant coaches in the past, where it's not like the guy's best friend and the guy who's having the head coach stick up for him to that extent, where maybe they just don't listen to Mark Savard and they don't like him, and the message gets tuned out from Berube to Savard to the players. Again, it's pure speculation. I don't know that that was the case. I don't know that that's how the players felt. It's just, and I'm not sure that Mark Savard was even like a bad guy to the players or anything like that. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. I just wonder if the dynamic in the room is a little bit different than maybe it traditionally is when you have a coach and an assistant coach who aren't like linked at the hip, where the players feel a little bit more comfortable, like they have somebody to talk to. Maybe that gets taken away when it's Mark Savard and he's Craig Berube's boy, where they're worried. I tell Mark Savard this, it goes back to the coach directly without any type of communication between myself and the coaching staff. So if things don't go how the players want, they don't think they can talk to Mark Savard. They don't think they can talk to Berube. Like, maybe that was an element. That was something I thought about after. Again, it's just speculation, but I wonder if that dynamic was at play at all.
Yeah, and you know how Berube always talks about, you know, the mindset and all that. I guess there's a lot to that. I mean, I think this Toronto Maple Leafs team is going to be studied for hockey psychology. I mean, it's incredible how well they can play.
Yes, they should.
You know, on a the next day almost, like they just completely change. So the mindset is very interesting, and I think they're going to study this somehow and try to learn from it.
They got to. All right, Mando. Thanks for calling in here. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You enjoy the rest of your night. We'll get to some more callers
You
here. There you go. Mando on the line. Next caller here calling in. Let's hear from Justin. Justin, how you feeling after this Maple Leafs win tonight against the New Jersey Devils?
Feeling much better than Sunday, I can definitely say that, although that was more paying attention to fantasy football and biting my nails off, hoping Christian McCaffrey wouldn't end me, and thankfully he didn't. So nice, cool $250 won there, plus the title. So
congratulations.
A lot better. And
congratulations. I'm going to jump in quickly. I got fucked, so I'm a little disappointed because I've been in 3 leagues. In one of them, I knew it was going to be a setback year. It's a keeper league with my buddies, so I knew this isn't the year for me. You know, pushed chips in last year, made some trades, lost in the finals. It is what it is. Took the year off, set back. We get back at it next year. The other 2, I went 12-2 in both. The one league, I ended up facing a guy who beat me by 0.9 points. I had 134 point something, and he had 135 point something, Justin, and beat me in the semifinals before the finals. And then in the other league, I lost to a guy who was 6-8 in the regular season, while I went 12-2 in the regular season in that one as well. First place in the entire league. Josh Allen put up 6.9 points, and then he had Brock Purdy, who single-handedly made up the difference to beat me. So I was pretty furious. I know nobody gives a fuck about my fantasy football, but hearing you say that just triggered that moment for me because I have not talked to anybody about that, and I lost in the semifinals in both goddamn leagues, Justin. It was a
fantasy football. Still not as frustrating as this hockey team on a daily basis, but
correct.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle almost sold me. His whopping 0.7 points almost ruined Derrick Henry and Drake May performance. So I hear you there, but
yeah.
On happier notes, I mean,
yes,
of course, this team beats the Devils, who they decided at the beginning of the year to go through that month-long egg-laying process of deciding, we don't really feel like playing tonight. No Matthews, no Nylander. I guess we should play tonight. And of course, not only is it a comfortable win, but going over that highlight, kind of, you could say the play of the plays of the game. Nye's getting pissed off by Hischier. I don't know what the hell happened, but in the draw, I saw Hischier kept shoving Nye's to the point where he was like, you want to go? And then, I was surprised he sure dropped the gloves and Nyes took him down. So and then Yarncroke got that goal almost immediately afterwards, so I was pretty pumped about that. And then that Robertson play wasn't really a reverse hit, but I know Dylan was coming in to hit him, and then Robertson got him. Dylan gets up and tries to start something with him, and I actually saw in the moment Simone Benoit stepped up, and it's like pick on someone your own size kind of thing. Then I think as Dylan was skating away, he was actually the one who pushed Dylan into Waugh, and whether Waugh knew it or not, knocked Dylan on his ass, and it was just chef's kiss to the whole evening. So hopefully this team learns like, hey, this is kind of what you got to do. You know, you don't necessarily have to, and you can't really, because you're the Leafs, you can't tomahawk chop a guy's foot off. But you know, if someone's gonna take liberties at your guys, you know, don't be afraid to do something like that, because that, you know, that's what we've always been missing. It's always get grabbed in a scrum and try to laugh it off, or get punked by take your pick of teams. So maybe, just maybe, there's a sliver of hope. Maybe just the slightest of sliver of hope.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, I think part of this here is, what do the guys learn from this? I know we're 10 years in, we're talking about learning lessons, and I'm talking 10 years specifically about like the Matthews Nylander era. I'm still talking about learning lessons, Justin, but what do they learn? And I'm not talking about the big boys this time. It's about the rest of the lineup. What do they learn about themselves? You know, is this a night where you can look around and say, Matthew Nyes fought and beat the wheels off Hischier? You know, it's not like he was landing bombs, but when I say beat the wheels off him, like, he wanted the fight. He demanded the fight. Hischier finally accepted. Matthew Nyes got to it late, and it still didn't matter. He basically just said, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to you in this one. You know, I'll play this for people here on the screen to take a look at. Again, courtesy of Tic Tac Tomar for the Viz on this one, and courtesy to Sportsnet for the video. But like, Matthew Nyes just manhandled Nico Hischier. Then you look at the plays that you're talking about, the Nick Robertson, Nick Waugh, Benoit sequence. Nick Robertson goes in and absolutely levels Brendan Dillon, and then Benoit comes in and sticks up for Nick Robertson, and then Robertson shoves, or Benoit, whoever it was, shoves Dillon down the wall, and then Nick Waugh absolutely mashes him. And then you look at the other guys just kind of elevating their play, their physicality, the level of defense. You know, the penalty kill is on fire right now. The power play is scoring. I don't know what this team is, if they're closer to this version of this team or if they're closer to the version that we've seen for like the first 35 games or most of the first 35 games. But it's positive to see that this was in them, because I think the one thing for us, Justin, you correct me if I'm wrong, but going into the season, the style that they're playing right now is what we thought they would be for the whole year, right? Like, we thought they would be this team, pot committed, everybody buys in kind of hockey and brand every night. You may not win every night, you may not be the most exciting every night, but like, you play this way and you're going to have a better chance for success in the playoffs. And it might not mean as many points in the regular season, and I'm not talking about how they started so far this year, but like, we thought that they would play this way. So this hockey that they played tonight is not like, oh shit, I didn't know that was what they had in them. If you think back to August and what we thought about the team aspect and the character and the buy-in, this is more along the lines of what we thought, which I think ultimately is a positive sign if you're going to win games and make the playoffs, and it is that sliver of hope that you're talking about.
No, absolutely 100%. And I mean, it's the reason why we still love those teams from the 80s and the late 2000s. Where did they have the best player on the team? No, but did they have talented guys who gave a damn, generally speaking, and would, you know, put their balls out there on the line and would stick up for themselves and each other? That's what we ultimately want. And it's really weird through this whole past decade that the main head honcho at the helm decided, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to just let the refs call penalties for us, and we're going to let our power play be our killer. So I don't know what the hell happened to that guy. That guy got softer than friggin' diaper shit. But how that mindset has just absolutely fucked this team through basically a golden age of Leaf talent, because obviously um, we have multiple guys who are going to set franchise records, but what are we going to do? Like parade around former Hart Trophy win and a couple of Rocket Richard Trophy wins, or are we going to talk about what the saying it out loud it sounds really dumb, but a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals? Is there something in this group that could go on a Blue Jays like run where you get to the finals and yeah, they didn't win, but god damn it, what did that team go down swinging, literally and figuratively? Is there something salvageable in this group that can be saved? Because if not, I'm not going to lie, I've been keeping an eye on, even though we only played one game, Keaton Verhoff. And yeah, because my focus then goes, all right, screw it. If Chinnikov can get a second, a fourth, and a player, what does a McMahon get you? What does a Robertson get you? What does an OEL get you? What does a McCabe get you? And although at that point you're basically just you're taking the wrecking ball, and it's just like, okay, if we're gonna get rid of these guys, may as well get rid of the foundation. But we're not there just yet. So we'll see what these guys have. And Tate starts Thursday against Winnipeg. Is there anything better than beating Toronto? Just keep replaying that. I know that's many years old now, but just keep replaying that and see what sticks, and go from there.
Look, I think the Blue Jays thing is a good point, and I'll tie it back to this team here. And I know it's something we tried to do a lot at the beginning of the season and say maybe they could take inspiration from that. Maybe it's just taken a long time, or maybe they really, really bought into what the Blue Jays did. Because if you think back to the beginning of the season for the Blue Jays, they also got themselves off to a slow start and then kind of pieced it together as things went on and went on that unbelievable run that they did. But I mean, Justin, to kind of go back to that, like, What was one of the things that you would say defined the Blue Jays? Like, I'm genuinely asking you, like, what would you say some of the words or adjectives you would use to describe what the Blue Jays were?
Definitely gritty was one. Teamwork, togetherness.
Yep.
Like, just genuinely seemed like they cared about each other. Now, did they all have to go out and like drink together? They actually, I feel like, probably did. And this team, it's a little different. Obviously, much different sport, much different, longer schedule in baseball. But like, you had guys at the end of the year, like almost in tears, hoping to come back. And it's like with this team, like you get Mr. drives his truck into a Tim Hortons friggin' drive-through, telling people like, I'm not staying here. Like he was able to see there's something off here.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, because you were so tight in money and you were so friggin', no, we're gonna win with this core and that's how we're gonna do it. You couldn't keep the best defensive partner Morgan Riley was able to have over his 11-year or 12, 13, however many years he's been here, which is its own issue. But like, was that not just a beautiful pairing? You got your right shot, big shutdown guy who can let Riley do his thing, and he can stay back. He'll hit, he'll fight. I think he was the one who probably injured Matthew Tkachuk's sternum or whatever. I remember that was the playoff or the cup final run they lost to Vegas, and there was those stories of Brady having to help get him up out of bed. And I feel like that was Schenner definitely did that to them, and how much I would love Shen back on the team, even just for that, whether he would play with Riley or not. But elements like that, like that's I think what we want. Like at the end of the day, it's all effort. It's all, do you give a shit? Do you give a fuck?
Yeah, and I think I think, Justin, to that point, and you laid it out perfectly, kind of what the Blue Jays were and what this team has lacked, is like this game tonight was a little bit of a hint of what that Blue Jays team represented. And it's not apples to apples. It's not the same thing, and it's only one game. It's not a body of work to operate off of or to say that this is what they are, but it was a taste of it. It was showing, like, hey, we bought in. We fought for each other. We were scrappy. We backed each other, like there was no quit in this one. You didn't have the big boys, but you showed up to play. Everybody kind of seemed like they supported each other. There was rah-rah on the bench, all that. Like the bench was energetic. That was more towards that line. So maybe they can do it. Maybe they could have that turnaround. Maybe having no Marner here this season, it took a long time for them to kind of get into things and get in the flow of it, but maybe it's opened guys up to realizing they can play bigger roles and be more important pieces. Maybe this stretch here without Matthews and without Nylander, they can get themselves healthy, come back in and be at 100%. But in the meantime, maybe it can open these guys up to realize, like, I am a more important piece on this team. I am somebody who can step up and bring energy and play this style and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it is 100% the case. I don't know that that's going to continue. I want to be positive about it, but just the way that they played tonight, it was nice to see. It wasn't just like a skill effort tonight. It was a full team effort from top to bottom, and I thought that they earned this win from the very beginning, so I'll give them that credit. Anything else here, Justin, tonight before I get to the next caller?
Nope, that's basically it. Appreciate what you guys do as always. Just keep moving on one game at a time, all those cliches, and again, if we'll see where it goes, because otherwise I want the tank off for Verhoff. That's someone we need. 6'4", right shot D-man who looks like he's not too afraid to join the rush. But in order to do that, we need a top 5 pick. So we know where that kind of stands if it's not. So
I've been calling it the fall off for Verhoff. That's the attack angle I've got. But 100%, I'm with you, Justin. If it doesn't get itself corrected by like the Olympic break for me, that's when I look at the fall off for Verhoff. But thank you. Thanks for the support. Thank you for calling in, and look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yep. All the best, man, and good luck to all of us for the rest of the season, and hopefully fantasy, whatever sports we're doing, goes a little better than getting 6.9 from your starting quarterback. That ain't nice. That's not nice at all.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Happy New Year, Justin. Enjoy the rest of your nights. There you go. Justin on his way out. We got one more caller to get to here on the program tonight. He's a fan favorite. We'll get to him in a moment. Just before we get to the next caller, we do have some super chats that have come in here. Tom Robbins prompting people. Let's beat the super chat record that we had from last year by the end of the night tonight. If we can do that, I mean, I will be a very, very happy man if we can set that record. So keep liking the stream, keep subscribing to the channel here, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. We did hit 175 likes, so for the 150, we'll do the smelling salts. If we can get 24 more likes, I will do more smelling salts, but here's the 150. There you go. Here's those smelling salts. Just quickly, some super chats before we get to this next caller, who I'm very excited to hear from after this game tonight. This super chat comes in. Oh, maybe I lost it. I thought there was one I saw on here, and it doesn't seem to be showing up in my listing. So maybe not. Maybe you just read that one wrong. All right, well, if it is the case, I'll try to see if I can find it, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's there. So apologies to anybody who might have sent that super chat. With that, it's a fan favorite. Don't want to wait anymore. I know you want to hear from him. I want to hear from him. Hit the music.
Okay, are you ready? Let's go!
Don't go change it. Do it your way. Go down blazing. Don't go change it. Do it your way. Go down blazing.
Sugar and spice, everything nice. Have a little class and do it right. I gotta say the way I feel. That's right. Buttercup, this is serious stuff.
I love the people.
You ready? Go! I don't get enough time in this show.
I love the people.
How's it going? Good to to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing? Lovely to look at and delightful to see. Love the hat. A wise guy, eh? You look good, really. You look good.
Don't go changing. Do it your way. Go down blazing. Don't go changing. Do it your way. Go down blazing. Doing that one for the old grapes. Go down blazing.
Gourd's Corner. Gourd, it's been a bit. Ohio gozaimasu. I appreciate you for joining us here today. Evening, afternoon. It's afternoon for you, right?
Yes, it's almost 1:30 in the afternoon, New Year's Eve day. So we're here the 31st already. So Shinnen akemashite omedetou gozaimasu. Happy New Year.
I don't know if I'm going to try that one. That is a lot to
It's
work
too
on
long.
right now.
It's too long. Just let it slide.
I got the Ohio gozaimasu part, but I don't know about the rest, Gourd. Happy New Year. I'm not trying to be insulting towards the language or the culture, so I'll leave it at that. Quickly, Gourd, before we talk about tonight's game or this season, there is a line in that intro. I don't know if you've ever picked up on it, but it makes me laugh every time I hear it because I think it's perfect for you joining this. And it's not because you demand this or anything or you're not grateful for your time, but Grape says in that video, I don't get enough time on this show. And I think of you every time I laugh because you are very aware of yourself and the conversations that we have and, you know, your answers sometimes, and you'll be like, oh, I've talked for too long. I got to stop, which I always think is funny. But the one line he says, I don't get enough time on this show. And I think of you, I'm like, that is perfect because there are probably times where Gourd is like, I could go for another hour here if I was allowed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no question. Like, I have to stop myself. Like, I realize that I'm long-winded and opinionated, and I go off on tangents. And I know, and every once in a while, I'll go back and just re-listen to the call. I go, oh, my God, and cringe at myself. Like, shut up. Give Zach a little space to make a
Nope. I want to hear from you, Gourd. I want to hear from you. And if I have to, I will jump in. You and I have been doing this for long enough, going back and forth for long enough. I know when to and when not to jump in, and I know that you're willing to hear me if I do need to jump in on those. So you're good.
Oh, yeah. The reason I originally started watching your channel was that you and Josh were really good at back and forth. You're kind of like, you didn't always agree on whatever it is you were talking about. So you had good back and forth. You had good back and forth between the two of you. So, and you had informed, like I could tell you knew what you were talking about hockey wise and whatnot. So it was an interesting dynamic, which is why I continued to watch the show. So yeah, but unfortunately, when I go off on a tangent, I tend to, and I have strong opinions, of course. I get into the chat and maybe get, lose a little decorum at times. Let's put it that way.
That's fair. That's fair. This is for. It's a community. You want to share your thoughts? You share your thoughts.
Yeah, and we're frustrated Leaf fans, 1967 and all. And keep in mind, I'm 64. I was born in 1961. So I saw that Leaf Cup as a boy. And I went to Bay Street for the ticker tape parade so when people say plan the parade, I know where it is. It's up Bay Street to Nathan Phillips Square. I know where it is. I've been there. I've done that. And I want to go again.
We will have you out here in your Justin Hall jersey, Gourd. We'll have you out here at the parade.
In my Justin Hall, because I support my guys. I support my guys.
You do. You do. You followed me every channel I went to over the years, and you were here, so I can attest to the fact you support your guys.
Yes. And that said, there's things that frustrate the heck out of me, as they do you, as they do everyone in the chat about hockey, especially our hockey team. And today, what I saw was the best hockey game the Leafs have played all year. They played a hockey game. They finished their checks. Everybody comes back hard on the back check. They come back deep so you don't get spread out cheating for offenses on the breakout where you tend to get those passes broken up. No, they come back deep, so they're in good defensive position. If there is a turnover, they're on the right side of the puck. I mean, what a great game today was. It was a really good game to watch. They've been playing better recently. That Pittsburgh game was a good game, similar to tonight, but a lot more gaps in that one. The same thing with Ottawa. Good game at times, sloppy at others. Detroit, pretty good game overall, but missing on scoring chances. And today was the best all-around game I think I've seen defensively as a team. I'm really, really impressed with the full and the effort. Like, we're talking about hockey, not shinny, not trying to tap the puck through the guy's skates and go the other way with it, but getting in the guy's way, sealing off the ice, sealing off plays. Like, even Michelli working down hard, down low on the board, like 1-on-2, and everybody on the team played well tonight, and everybody played well because they're playing hockey. They bought in, and it was really a pleasure to watch for a change. I felt it was 2-0. I didn't feel they're going to blow this game because I could see the way they were playing. I felt confident, especially with the way Woll was playing as well.
It did kind of it did have that feeling. Yeah, Gourd, it did have that feeling where it was like, it was 2-0. It didn't feel like, oh shit, they're going to let this slip. Even when New Jersey got their opportunities, I think the one thing that the Leafs did was they didn't let it snowball to like an opportunity that turns into 3 opportunities, that turns into 5 opportunities, that turns into like 8 straight shots on goal in 3 minutes to 5 minutes in your own zone. It didn't feel like that. It felt like, hey, chance comes, second chance comes. Okay, that's fine. Now what do you make of it? Puck's out of the zone. You're up the ice in transition. Maybe you dump it in, you get a change because you got to get off the ice. But rather than those guys being out there for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and they get trapped, and then the other team comes in and Jack Hughes is buzzing around. I thought he looked really good, Jack Hughes, on the other side, but the Leafs just didn't let it snowball. They didn't let that continue to build like that. So I thought they did a good job here in this one. And one point I want to touch on quickly before I hand the ball back to you, one thing you brought up that I think is a really good point that I want to build off of, or just point out a little bit at least, is you brought up Michelli and him winning board battles and getting low and doing that. And I know you're just picking one guy there to bring that up, but I think that was something everybody did. And it was Cowan, it was Robertson, it's Troy Stetcher every time he steps on the ice, but it was Calle Yarncroke to an extent. Like, it was everybody. Jacob Quillen, who we haven't really talked about much tonight, didn't play that much, but like did the right things, did the little things, played a pretty simple, pretty clean game here tonight. So I a lot of credit to those guys for stepping in and not just being like, I'm Matthias Michelli, I passed the puck, I'm not doing that shit. No, Michelli was like, I'll win battles, I'll join the battle at bare minimum, I'll be in there, I'll help on the boards, I'll help down low, I'll help in the cycle game. Like, everybody was doing that kind of stuff, and it's the kind of game where it's inspiring because you look at these guys without the big boys, without the amount of money that they, like with the amount of money they had in the press box not playing. So a lot of credit to them for doing that. Can you do that in the next game? Can you do that in the game after that? Can you do that when the big boys come back? And I don't mean that by, you don't do that for 82 games a year. You don't. Like, nobody in the NHL does. The Colorado Avalanche will have an off game, at least one off game this year. It's hockey, Gourd. You can't do it, and with the schedule, it's even harder to do. But can you make that more of who you are and not just a one-off? That's the positive sign from this one, but the question I have going forward is this who you will be, or was this something you did once?
I think to that end, let me just throw that back at you. To that end, I think the reason for that is, or one of the reasons for that, or possibly the main reason, was having both Matthews and Nylander out of the lineup. So everybody's feeling like they're not just a peripheral, supplemental filler piece. Like, this whole team is all based around their stars, and everybody else are just kind of, you can just fill them in, and they're exchangeable pieces or whatever throughout the year, just around this core. And then when the core guys are playing, it's like your game is kind of facilitating them rather than just focusing on basics of hockey, getting in on the forecheck, making that F3 as high in a good, responsible position. But the other two guys are deep battling it out, but being on there, like all of the little things that everyone needs to do to be successful at hockey, not shinny, hockey. Okay, not being shinny as all that peripheral stuff, looking for the perfect nice play, blah blah blah. No, just get it at the net. There was a thing you brought up, Quinlan. There was a segment where Nick Kyprios in between pointed out how he he wasn't doing anything maybe spectacular, but look, goes to the, or maybe it was Elliott who did, goes to the net, yeah. So he goes to the, makes the play, the solid, safe pass off, but then directly drives to the net, gets a good tip on net, like doing all the little things. And always, like, everybody played really, really well tonight. Everybody played really, really, really well tonight and stuck to hockey, like basic, with the kind of hockey Berube hopefully wants to play, that they're starting to play. But I think not having those stars in gave everyone more, like, one of your earlier callers brought up, Robertson, like just in between periods or at the end of a period, at the beginning of a period, like, come on, boys, let's go, boys. Like, feeling full of himself. Like, I'm a guy. I'm a go-to guy here now. Yeah. I'm the go-to guy. And all the other guys stepped up feeling that. So they're not just, hey, we're peripheral, interchangeable pieces. We are the Leafs. It's us now. So I thought that kind of feeling, atmosphere kind of really showed up tonight, and I really was impressed with that.
It was Maple Leafs hockey and not Core 4 hockey, which I think was an interesting thing. And I mean, I'm not trying to like take away from Matthews and Nylander or even Marner when they're here, where like I don't think they were the guys necessarily who were like, it's about us. I don't think they did that. I'm not saying they did that by like their voices or the way they played, but I think their contracts, their negotiations, and then just the fact that they were put on the pedestal that they were always made it about them, and the rest of the guys were just extra pieces and it didn't matter. This is the first time where you lose one of the guys and John Tavares takes a step back and takes a step back salary-wise, where it's like, okay, there's only 2 of you and there's not 4 of you now. And that makes everybody else have to step up more, which I think was an exciting concept going into the season. And then you started to see, you missed some pieces. Other guys have to step up here now. Okay, now what can happen? Can you build off of this going forward? So that was a good thing as well. I thought the team game was there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And not just the salaries about the top guys, but, ice time, like a minute and a half on the power play, and second PP unit just gets a sniff, barely.
Yeah.
Or other guys 23 minutes, and guys lower down getting like 8 minutes, not real getting their feet under them, getting in the rhythm. And now without those guys, okay, we're rolling 4 lines. Everybody get on it. And what's we're going to do? We're going to get pucks in deep. We're going to get forecheck hard. We're going to make plays off of turnovers. We're going to take away center ice. We're going to come back hard on the back check. We're going to come back hard for the breakout. So we're down low. We're not spread out. So we can make just the short passes and get the puck out of the zone with some momentum and hopefully get it in the other zone. Like, the really well played hockey game tonight. So I tip my hat off to the Leaf. That was good to watch. Do you want to get to that super chat? I think Maximus sent me a Japanese message. It says, Maximus.
Yeah, can you read it? Can you read it?
Yes, it says, for Gourd, anata no yukoto ga daisuki desu, which means I love what you're saying. Hey, Gourd, I love what you're saying. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thanks, Maxentius, for the super chat. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Gourd, I got something for you. I'm curious if you noticed this. I'm curious if people in the chat noticed this here as well. But Vic called me after the second intermission. So for those who don't know, I was supposed to fly to Minnesota today for the 3rd time, and it was the 3rd straight cancellation in 3 days. You can guess the fucking airline that canceled 3 straight times. Coming out of Canada, that would fly through the air and did not get us there. So we're not going to be going to Minnesota this year. But there was a little bit of a scrambly thing here where Vic and Nick were going to be hosting the show tonight. I'd handed everything off to them. I kind of called Vic and was like, okay, maybe I'm going to be coming back here. And then we caught up after the first period and after the second period because I missed a bit of the first period and I had to catch up in intermission, and I wanted to get his thoughts. And, we talked about it after the first, talked about it after the second, and his thoughts after the second was he was frustrated that in one of the games we were watching, where it was one of the better games we had seen from this team this year, we we still weren't getting energy and atmosphere the same way you'd hope from Scotiabank Arena. Vic never brought it up on the postgame tonight, and I think a lot of that had to do with the third period. And I think these things go hand in hand, specifically that shift where Nick Robertson levels Brendan Dillon. Simone Benoit steps in, and he goes after Brendan Dillon for going after Nick Robertson. There's a pushing battle on the wall. He shoves Brendan Dillon down the wall, and Nick Waugh cranks Brendan Dillon. That is one of a handful of times in the 10 years of the Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, Marner era that I can remember watching a game and the crowd blocked the bottom part of the ice. And I know that's a stupid way to put it, but the arena was loud. People were on their feet. People were blocking the glass area of the ice, which is not something you get watching games on TV that are being played at Scotiabank Arena. And it was quieter for the first two periods, but I think that watching that game, watching how inspired they were, blocking shots, playing physical, everyone buying in, the crowd started to buy in. The crowd started to appreciate the style of play. You know, everybody committing, the raw attitude of everyone on the ice. And then you saw that shift where it was hit after hit after hit, everybody sticking up for each other, and Scotiabank Arena stood on their feet. I hope
the nice fight. Oh, sorry.
No,
The nice
yeah.
fight,
The nice fight too.
And then the goal right after. The nice fight and the goal right after. It was a big FU to Jersey. And it was, he sure went looking for that fight. He was cross-check, and his team was down. He thought, oh, I'm the captain. My team's down too with 15 minutes left. And guy, you picked the wrong weight class.
Oh, you picked the wrong dude.
A bull. And I could see, like, Nyes was surprised. I lip read, and he goes, really? You want to go?
Yeah.
You want to drop him? You could read his lips. If you go back, he goes, really? You want to go? You want to drop him? And then next thing you know, they drop. He should thought, oh, I better get them in quick. If I can get him in quick, I'll be okay. He super quickly drops him, and he's lucky because that first bomb by Nyes hit him square in the chest. If that hit him in the face, there would have been a stretcher involved. Yeah. That hit him square in the chest, but you could see it knocked him down. And then Nyes got one more in on the ear and the helmet on the way down. But that first one was look at it again. That first one was a bomb, and it was square in the chest. He's like, it didn't stop his heart. And I swear to goodness, that guy, I get you want to help your team, but that guy's a bull. You picked the wrong door to knock on.
And Gourd, like, the point too, like you're talking about the goal, the fight, the hits, that hockey. Even after it went up 2-0, you could feel some energy coming in there where they would get more excited off of little plays and off of finishing checks. The Benoit hit on Timo Meier on the wall. Obviously, Benoit falls down, but it was a huge hit where it rattles the glass. The fans are jumping. You could feel the energy coming through. You could feel it through the TV. I don't know what it was like in the arena, but it felt louder. It felt more exciting in there. I just was thinking about it, and the comment comes in the chat from Gusto. Watch a game at the Air Canada Centre in the early 2000s. See if it was quiet then. It's the team that drives the arena. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. And I think if you can find the combination of skill and goal scoring with that raw, we're a team, we're a mob mentality, you're going to put together a perfect recipe to get the fans involved in every single game going forward, and also to start to have success where you can be a tough, scary team to play against because you can beat people up physically and wear them down, and you're not going to give up much defensively. And then on the other side of the puck, you can score goals because you have a guy who, even when he's hurt and playing at 80%, if that's what he is, can score 40 goals in a season. You have a guy in William Nylander who can kind of coast around and then say, fuck it, it. Okay, all of a sudden I'll show up. And we look at that stretch that he had where he didn't score or put up any points. He's still on pace for 97 points scored. 97 points. And we're like, wow, this guy hasn't showed up in 10 games. Imagine what happens if he does. We're talking about 110, 150, 15-point season from William Nylander. You have those guys who can do that, and you fill them in around those guys with guys who can bring that energy. That is what the people of Toronto love. The most beloved teams this city has had have been the most blue-collar, grit, grind, battle it out teams. And like, I know there was a lot of skill on those teams with Sundin and those guys. There was a lot of skill there, but the fact that those guys went to war every night for each other to win games,
it's the Roberts and the Tuckers and those players that the blue collar Leaf fans, the working class in Toronto and the working class Leaf fans love, right? They
respected the shit out of it.
They love the Gilmores. They love the Wendell Clarks. They love the Gary Roberts and Darcy Tuckers. They love those guys, those grind guys. Boreas Salming will take a puck in the face to stop the puck and get back up and stop another one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like those guys, like, of course, those are what hockey fans like, right? And the Leafs have some of those guys. They have guys like Scotty Lawton. Those guys, I like everyone bitching about losing draft picks, and I agree. But I like the Lawton one. I like Lawton. I hope, he might be fourth line or whatever, and he might miss a lot of puck, but he'll shoot the puck. He shoots the puck. He's capable of making some plays at time, and he's gritty. He's knows where to be on the ice. He's in good positioning all the time. He's sound. Yep. He knows he's got a high hockey IQ, and he's gritty as hell. And I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, there's the same thing with Robertson. Robertson's tiny, but he's gritty as hell. Like it's
the Troy Stetcher factor, Gord. Think about like Max Domi talked about Troy Stetcher after the game where he got the crowd pumped up, and he's going like this after the Ottawa game, which wasn't the prettiest game, but it was a good energy, intensity, engagement, effort game. I know it's a lot of buzzwords, but that's what it was in that game against Ottawa, where it was like you're basically in a track meet here against the Sens, and you found a way to outduel them on the scoreboard. Not a game that Craig Berube is going to watch after and be like, here's the epitome, like this is the video I want to show hockey schools on how to play defense. But it was battling and effort, and then at the end of the game, after a scrum is ensued and everybody's going at it, it's Troy Stetcher with a glove off going to the crowd, get on your fucking feet. Like, get on your fucking feet. Like, that is a small guy. That's a guy who works his bag off. That's a guy that the city of Toronto got behind and falls in love with. Like, those are the kinds of pieces. Those are the kinds of players, that mentality and that attitude. I think that's why you're falling more and more in love with Nick Robertson, who even people who weren't necessarily on his side early on are looking at him and being like, this is a guy that you can get behind here because he shows up every night and he goes to work. Like, there's just a lot of buy-in from this team, and I think fans, if they play like that, will get behind it a whole lot more. And I know the people in this city are taking a beating, especially when it comes to the criticism that they're throwing out when it comes to Marner and Nylander and Matthews over the past few years, and Nylander and Matthews specifically this season, and the moments they've had where the intensity and the effort from those guys feel like it's lacked. But you can see games like this. This is a fan base who can fucking get right behind you and rally behind you if you're going to do that kind of stuff and show that you have some heart.
Hey, listen, Zach, I agree with you 100%. I got to go. I got something to go. One thing I want to mention in the comment here, someone brought up just the old days of grinders and stuff, good players. I think they brought up the Zezel line.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Zezel, Osborne, and who was it again? I forget the other guy.
Me.
Okay, but I just wanted to mention Zezel. I went to high school with Zezel. I went to Birchmount in Scarborough, and okay. I went to high school. I knew him. He played for Don Mills Flyers. I played in that same league, but I played for Dorset Park Bruins in the MTHL. But I remember I know him really well, Zezel. Great guy. And Fun fact, his first year, they had the same age, and when he was with the Flyers, and Wendell Clark's first year as rookie, Wendell Clark stayed at Zezel's place, in Zezel's bedroom that was all Philadelphia Flyer paraphernalia. But yeah, so
That's
yeah,
good.
that was a kind of fun fact about if you ever come across Wendell in your thing, ask him about staying at Peter Zezel's house for his first year. They had the same agent. I forget the agent's name, but that's
Shit,
why
I should ask him.
Yeah,
I did get to see him not too long ago. I grew up playing against Wendell's son as well and some minor hockey stuff, so was around. But Gourd, I appreciate you calling in here. You enjoy the rest of your day. It is New Year's Eve for you. We are approaching 10 minutes away from New Year's Eve ourselves on the East Coast, or the Eastern time zone at least. So, Gourd, thank you as always. Happy New Year to you. Ohio gozaimasu. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year to everyone and everyone in the chat. Take care. Happy New Year.
Gordon Graham on the line. Always a great call when Gord calls in. With that, we'll kind of get to our end of our show here and wrap some things up. We did the play of the game earlier. We did our best bet recap. So let's get to Crave the Stats segment. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Again, thanks to our friends at Uber Eats, always saving the day. Today, a little bit of a plane issue in the airport. You have to get back. It's last minute. And what do? Fire up the old Uber Eats. I don't got food in the fridge. I was supposed to be gone for 10 days. So Uber Eats is my best friend right now. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Every time the Leafs are playing at home, you can get these exclusive deals in Toronto only on Uber Eats. The Firehouse Subs, the BOGO Brisket Hat Trick. At Kibo Sushi, you can get the BOGO California Roll. And at Shelby Shawarma, you can get the BOGO Traditional Wrap. BOGO, of course, is buy one, get one. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Our Crave the Stats, it's what we've been doing over the last little while. Quickly, I want to actually run down the NHL standings. So I think that's where we'll jump to first to take a look at what the NHL is shaking up to at this point in time. We'll look at the Eastern Conference in particular, where you can see the Detroit Red Wings sitting at top of the Atlantic Division there, 49 points. The Montreal Canadiens, 48 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning with 47 points. Those are your three Atlantic Division playoff spot holders right now. Going down to your wild cards, the Florida Panthers putting things together for the Atlantic Division, 45 points themselves, tying the Washington Capitals at 45 points there as well. The Toronto Maple Leafs sitting currently 3 points back of the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals at 42 points, making the jump here now over the Bruins, the Devils, the Senators, and the Blue Jackets, still 2 points behind the Buffalo Sabres. This is where I just want to point out, by the way, like, a lot of people were getting on me, 6 1/3, one of the main culprits of this, on Sunday for being negative about the Maple Leafs losing that game to the Red Wings and giving up an opportunity to have a 4-point swing. It's an Atlantic Division opponent. You take 2 points away from Detroit. You get 2 points yourself. You climb the standings. I mean, you look at this game here tonight. That puts the Atlantic Division leader at 48, because that would be Montreal. It would bring Detroit down a peg where they would be at 47. They wouldn't have gotten those 2 points against you. I know I'm doing ifs and buts, candy and nuts, all that kind of shit, but the point being, you would be looking at this and going, there's 48, 47, 47, 45, and the Maple Leafs would have got that one extra point and been at 43, which would have put them 2 points back of Washington and Florida. So rather than needing 3 points to tie them or 4 points to pass, which would have been 2 wins, they would have been 1 win away from tying them here if they had gotten that extra point against the Red Wings. And they closed the gap on the teams who are at the top of the Atlantic Division. Like, they closed that gap. You're sitting at 43. You're 5 points back of Montreal. You're 5 points back of the Red Wings. You're 4 points back of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, it puts you much closer to being able to grab onto a playoff spot than where you are now. And that's why I look at that game and that opportunity that you had where you take the lead in the third period and you lose that game and you go, fuck, if we had taken that one and we'd won that game, we could have been in this spot. Again, I know I'm doing a lot of coulds and ifs and buts and all that kind of stuff, but you look at those moments, and when the team is this tight right now, and the team is this, or the league is this, this much parity in it, and they're that equal all the way through, you need to be winning games. The Buffalo Sabres have won 9 in a row, and they are 2 points ahead of you, and they are not in a playoff spot. So that's why it's frustrating to me that you lose games like this and you don't get those, or you lose games like that on Sunday and you don't get those points. This win tonight, it's a great win. It passes the Devils technically here in the standings, and if you look at the NHL.com, they're ranked ahead of the Devils right now, but it's been a better stretch for the Maple Leafs over the last little while. Playing much better over the last bit, and it just, points are becoming that much more important. We'll go and take a look here at the box score quickly. I wanted to start with the standings, just a box score for people of who stood out to me tonight. We talked about a couple of them already, but Joseph Woll, 33 save shutout. They win 4-0 in this one. Other guys who stood out to me, Jake McCabe finishes +2. He has 8 blocked shots in this game. Jake McCabe plays 23 minutes and 46 seconds, the most of any defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Looking to the forwards, Nick Robertson, 2 assists for him tonight. He finishes with a +1. He's got 3 shots on goal in 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Jacob Quillen, I thought, actually played pretty well. He's a +1. He only played 7 minutes and 1 second, by far the least of all forwards on the Maple Leafs in this game tonight. Easton Cowan actually ends up playing 14 minutes and 28, which is 6 seconds more than Nick Robertson played, which is kind of interesting. Nick Waugh gets a goal and an assist here tonight. He finishes with 18 minutes of time on ice. He's a +2. He gets 2 shots on goal. And the other guy I wanted to point out, which we talked about already, Bobby McMahon, 1 goal, 1 assist, +1, 6 shots on goal for Bobby McMahon in 14 minutes and 16 seconds of time on ice. Those are the guys I wanted to point out. Shout out to Matthew Nyes, obviously, for the fight. 3 hits for Nyes. Simone Benoit, 2 hits there. Nick Robertson getting physical. Benoit, Waugh, all getting physical as well. So credit to basically the entire team in this one for just having a game where they all kind of step up and elevate their play. Brookham Deno says they are turning it around, though. Perfect time to start getting it together with so many games in January before the Olympic break. I do agree with that. My only concern is just these injuries. And the point I'm more so making when I'm talking about the games where you blow those leads and those wins is what Irv Blitzer brings up in the chat when he says, when you bury yourself like you did at the start of the season, games like San Jose and Detroit absolutely kill you more. That's the point I'm making. You can't continue to give up points and games and wins like that when the standings are as tight as they are, and you look and you go, San Jose, you win that game, that's an extra point. You're at 43. Detroit, you win that game, that's an extra point. You're at 44. It's a different conversation when you look down the line and think about games they've blown or ones they should have won or let go to OT or lost in OT, and you think, had you played the right way, had you done the right things, had you closed out games, had you not given up, maybe you get wins and it's more points. Where maybe the game wasn't that bad, but losing those points do provide an opportunity for other teams to kind of step in and catch up to you. And that's what I think is a concerning thing for the Maple Leafs about how they started the season. We do have another super chat here. This one came in from Tom Robbins yet again. Tom, thank you for the super chats. Tom says, Happy New Year to you and everyone listening. Tom, thank you very much for the super chats. Happy New Year to yourself as well. With that, I am tired. I know sitting in an airport and just waiting around is not traditionally that exhausting, and there's more people doing more things that are more important and more exhausting than what I was doing, but I am tired after this, where you're just sitting around tracking flights all day, and I think we're going to wrap this thing up, so we're going to give this our grades of the game. You guys send your grades in the chat. I want to know what you think about this Maple Leafs win here tonight. Just quickly before I leave, there's somebody who would have loved, I can't even remember, who is it that always, Mario Kart, always used to come in. Mario Kart we haven't seen in a while, but always used to come in and ask for the deserve to win-a-meter. If you guys want that, 59.5% in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Looking at the team stats here, this will go into my grade as well. The power play goes 1 for 3. The penalty kill goes 3 for 3. They continue to be on fire here right now. The Maple Leafs, they're outshot 33-30, but it's not like it used to be at the beginning of the season where it was like 40 shots for one team and 18 for your Toronto Maple Leafs. And it was like 2-1 because Anthony Stolarz or Joseph Woll or Dennis Hildeby played out of their minds. Woll played out of his mind, but it was 33-30. Like, this was a much tighter game when you consider that. Faceoffs, the Maple Leafs win again, 55.8% for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Shorthand, what was I going to say? Block shots, 16 for the Leafs, 11 for the Devils. Takeaways, 5 for the Devils, 2 for the Maple Leafs. Giveaways, 9 for the Maple Leafs, 15 for the New Jersey Devils, which I think is a big part of this, where it's like 9 giveaways. That's a much cleaner brand of hockey. Here's one thing I want to read for you guys. Actually, wait, grade of the game. I think I'll keep this on simple. My grade of the game on this is going to be... My grade of the game is going to be... I kind of want to go an A+. I feel positive. You got a shutout. You scored 4 goals. You had a fight. Physical play. Everyone bought in. It's not perfect, but I'm feeling in the mood tonight to give out a more forgiving or generous grade. So I'll go with an A+. A+. Missing Nylander, missing Matthews, missing Tanev, missing Joshua. I'll go with an A+. A+ for your Toronto Maple Leafs from me tonight. And I know that's a generous grade. I know it's a little bit much, but I'm feeling good about it. I'll give it an A+. Decker 9411. Carrie from St. Catharines. Love the show. Listen every game. Thank you, Carrie. The checking line, Zachary, full name, wow, was Hannon, Reed, and Osborne. Then Billy Ferg from Beamisville was absolutely amazing when he stepped in. There you go. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate you watching every game. Here's what I want to read to you guys as I wrap this show. 4-0 win for your Toronto Maple Leafs. We talked about where they're at in the standings. They beat the New Jersey Devils, who are now tied with them in points in the standings, and the Eastern Conference and the Atlantic Division in particular is starting to look a whole lot more different. But there's a quote from tonight, and I want Leafs fans to hear this because I think this feels good as a Leafs fan walking away from this game. I'm just going to read this, and I'll wrap. So to remind you, the boys will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Leafs Morning Take, Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. They will recap tonight's game. They'll look ahead to Thursday's game as well. The boys will stay long to do a reaction to everything that happens for the Team Canada roster unveiling. I think we know most of who the team is for Team Canada, but they're going to kind of list every name officially, so we'll find that stuff out tomorrow. I believe that's at noon Eastern, so the boys will go long for that. So make sure to tune in Leafs Morning Take tomorrow. And then as well, I will be back on Thursday for a game preview, talking about what to look forward to, the lines, who's returning, who's not, if Matthews is back, if Nylander's back, all that kind of stuff. And then we will be live following the game on January 1st to break down everything that happened against the Winnipeg Jets. So I'll be back for that. Let's get to the quote. I'm going to read this, and we wrap the show. I mean, do I want our captain, one of our best players, fighting when we're down 2-0 in the third period? Absolutely not. But do we need some guys to step up to show some emotion and show some balls and play with some urgency and competitiveness and step out of character? Yeah, we need more of that. So to that end, I like it. I like that Nico did it, and hopefully it rubs off on the rest of the group in a positive way. I didn't think that it did in that moment. But you want to talk about gut checks. There's one. Your captain's out there taking on a big guy, stepping out of character. We'll see what we have with our group. But we need more guys that are going to show a little bit more if you're not going to score. Give us a little bit more competitively and physically and show that you're working to find your way. There's not enough of that. We're just kind of going about our business. That is Sheldon Keefe, following the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-0 victory over Sheldon Keefe's New Jersey Devils. Enjoy your night. We'll see you on Thursday. Keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And